Let's talk Jinx, a weekly Jinx video we do every Wednesday about anything to do with Jinx, as well as this video acting as a weekly discussion thread on the Jinx subreddit, our League of Jinx. Make sure to go check that out. And for today's video, I actually wanted to ask you guys a question I have just off of the past conversations and past episodes we've been having, and that's basically how would you balance Jinx? And I asked this off the back of the crit item changes that are possibly happening might be happening in as early as 9.2, and that's why, for example, Jinx's change is only really to the W. It's not maybe like a massive buff if you really can even consider it a buff. It's because those item changes might be a buff, so they don't really want to buff champions like her, Caitlyn, Tristana a lot harder in case that also be a buff, and then leave them in like a broken state of actually being super powerful. So that being said, of course, there's been conversation around what the right kind of buff for Jinx would need to be, and then there's also been conversation that some people have been having about, you know, they'd be willing to get the old rockets back and like give up the buffs that happened over the past couple seasons to Flame Chompers or Zap even, if that would keep her power neutral. Now that term is kind of important because when it comes to August, one of the reasons and one of the ways he's been balancing Jinx in the past, or at least his ideas and stuff, is to keep Jinx power neutral. Good example, in 8.2, they gave her back the minigun that they took away from her back in 5.10, and one of the things they had to do there is kind of remove the passive stacking to keep her quote-unquote power neutral. It was a good buff, it was a buff that felt good, it left her a little bit powerful, like for a little bit, gave her about, I believe in his words, a 0.5% win rate increase even, but didn't, you know, make her go like out of control. She had to be like nerfed, banned every game kind of a thing. So that's kind of the key spot you want to keep a champion in. A champion in a spot where they feel good to play, they are actually pretty viable and decent, but aren't super meta and super broken that they get banned or have to be nerfed hard afterwards. So that's why I asked you guys these questions, because we've actually been having a pretty, in my opinion, decent conversation about what you'd be willing to give up, what, you know, where you shift power from if you want to go the old rockets, or with the Zap change, and then possibly the item changes coming in about 2 patches, 9.2, possibly, don't quote me on that, they might be later. Where would you actually go? Based off of your own experience playing Jinx, what do you like? Maybe what do you dislike? What do you be like, hey, I like this, but I don't really need this if they want to remove this instead, etc., etc. So, every 2 weeks we usually talk about a patch when it comes out, but this one was like a micro patch, didn't really have a lot in it, had some AD carry changes, but again, as we mentioned, Caitlyn Tristana changes, they're decent. Like the Caitlyn Ultimate change especially is like, wow, okay, but they're not like super big because they're holding off massively buffing these champions until we hit into the beginning of season 9. So that's why I didn't really go that route. That's why this video is also going to probably kind of shorter than the patch videos usually are, so I apologize about that. But if you're into the shorter videos, well then there you go. We're basically done before 3 minutes here, not counting the outro card. So in the comment section down below, let's have a conversation about, especially with the coming changes, the W change and the crit item changes, how would you balance Jinx? What would you be willing to give up? What do you think needs to be buffed more maybe? And stuff like that. So, I don't know which video will be next, because life can have a lot of kinks. So till this time, take care. GG, get jinxed. Thank you for watching, and enjoy pizza responsibly. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification, the actual subscribe button.